Class 11th, Subject Physics, 7th chapter, Thermal Properties of Matter. Thermal Properties of Matter. From this chapter, let us see numericals from exercise. Numericals from exercise. Let us see numerical number 1, which is given as a glass flask has volume 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter cube. It is filled with a liquid at 30 degrees Celsius. If the temperature of the system is raised to 100 degrees Celsius, how much of the liquid will overflow? If coefficient of volume expansion of glass is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius, and while that of the liquid is 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. So for this numerical, given data is volume V is equal to 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter cube. Initial temperature T1 is equal to 30 degree Celsius. Final temperature T2 is equal to 100 degree Celsius. Coefficient of volume expansion for glass, that is gamma G, equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. Then coefficient of volume expansion for liquid, gamma L, equal to 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. Then we have to find out the volume of liquid that will overflow. Volume of the liquid that will overflow, that we will have to find. Now that volume of liquid will overflow which will be larger than the volume of the glass flask. That means if the volume of liquid is greater than volume of the glass flask, then how much amount of volume of liquid is greater than the glass flask, that much amount of liquid will overflow. And for that purpose we will have to find out increase in volume of the glass flask, similarly increase in volume of the liquid, and then if you take the difference between the increase in volume of the liquid and the increase in volume of the glass flask, then we will get the volume of the liquid that will overflow. And therefore let us find increase in volume of the glass flask. Increase in volume of the glass flask, according to the concept of volume expansion, the increase in volume Phi1, let it be Phi1, will be equal to original volume Phi into gamma G into T2 minus T1. Change in volume, that is increase in volume Phi1, will be equal to Phi into gamma G into T2 minus T1. Similarly, increase in volume of the liquid. Increase in volume of the liquid will be given as Phi2 equal to Phi into gamma L into T2 minus T1. Phi into gamma L into T2 minus T1. And therefore, the volume of liquid that will overflow, will be given as Phi2 minus Phi1, which will be written as Phi gamma L into T2 minus T1 minus Phi gamma G T2 minus T1. From these two terms, Phi and T2 minus T1 will be taken common, and therefore we can write Phi into T2 minus T1 into this gamma L minus this gamma G, that is gamma L minus gamma G. Therefore putting the values, we will get 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 into 100 minus 30 into 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 minus 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. From this 10 raised to minus 5 is taken common, and therefore we will get 75 minus 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. Simplifying this, we will get 70 into 73.8 into 10 raised to minus 9. The product of these two comes out to be 5166 into 10 raised to minus 9, which will be further written as 5.166 into 10 raised to minus 6 meter cube. and this will be the volume of liquid which will overflow. Then let us see numerical number 2, which is stated as which will require more energy, heating 2 kilogram block of lead by 30 Kelvin or heating 4 kilogram block of copper by 5 Kelvin. Now for that purpose, specific heat capacities of lead and copper are given. That is, for lead, SL equal to 128 joule per kilogram per Kelvin, and for copper, S copper will be equal to 387 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And therefore, let us see the given data. Mass of lead block Ml is equal to 2 kg. Mass of copper block Mc equal to 4 kg. Specific heat capacity for lead SL equal to 128 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Then for copper block, specific heat capacity SC equal to 387 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Then change in temperature for lead, that is delta TL is equal to 30 Kelvin, and for copper delta TC equal to 5 Kelvin. Now we know the relation for heat absorbed or heat gain will be Q is equal to M into S into delta T. M into S into delta T, that is mass into specific heat into rise in temperature. And therefore, applying this formula for lead and copper blocks, we can write QL equal to ML into SL into delta TL. ML into SL into delta TL. Putting the values, we will get 2 into 128 into 30, which comes out to be 7680 joule. 7680 joule. Similarly, QC will be equal to MC SC into delta TC. MC SC into delta TC, which will be equal to 4 into 387 into 5. 4 into 387 into 5, which comes out to be 7740 joule. 7740 joule. Now if you compare QC and QL, then QC is greater than QL, and therefore we can say that copper block will require more energy. Copper block will require more energy. So this will be the required answer. Now let us see numerical number 3, which is given as the specific latent heat of vaporization of water is 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kilogram. Calculate the energy needed to change 5 gram of water into steam at 100 degree Celsius. And therefore, for this, the latent heat of vaporization LV is given 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kilogram. LV is equal to 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kilogram. Mass M is given 5 gram, which will be converted into kilogram as 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 kilogram. And then we have to find out the heat energy Q. Now Q will be given in terms of LV as Q is equal to M into LV. Q is equal to M into LV. Putting the values, we will get 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 2.26 into 10 raised to 6. The product of this comes out to be 11.3 into 10 raised to 3 joule. 11.3 into 10 raised to 3 joule. This will be the heat energy required to convert that substance into steam. Then let us see numerical number 4, which is stated as a metal sphere cools at the rate of 0.05 degrees Celsius per second when its temperature is 70 degrees Celsius, and at the rate of 0.025 degrees Celsius per second when its temperature is 50 degrees Celsius. Determine the temperature of the surroundings and the rate of cooling when the temperature of the metal sphere is 40 degree Celsius. So for this numerical, given data is first rate of cooling, that is dt by dt1 is equal to 0.05 degrees Celsius per second. Then second rate of cooling, dt by dt2 is equal to 0.025 degrees Celsius per second. Then temperature T1 for this first rate of cooling is 70 degrees Celsius. For second rate of cooling, the temperature T2 is equal to 50 degrees Celsius. Then temperature T3 will be equal to 40 degrees Celsius. And we have to find out temperature T0, that is temperature of the surrounding, and third rate of cooling, that is dt by dt3. So according to Newton's law of cooling, we have the formula dt by dt is equal to C into T minus T0, where C will be the constant. dt by dt equal to C into T minus T0. Now applying this formula for first two rate of cooling, we can write dt by dt1 divided by dt by dt2. dt by dt1, that is first rate of cooling, divided by second rate of cooling, that is dt by dt2, which is equal to T1 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. T1 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. Therefore, putting the values, we will get 0.05 upon 0.025, 0.05 upon 0.025 equal to 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. This left hand side comes out to be 2, that will be equal to 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. Taking cross multiplication, we will get 100 minus 2 T0 equal to 70 minus T0. 100 minus 2 T0 equal to 70 minus T0. Therefore, this is minus 2 T0. This will be plus T0, so that we will get T0 will be equal to 100 minus 70. T0 will be equal to 100 minus 70, which comes out to be 30 degrees Celsius. So this will be the temperature of the surrounding, that is 30 degrees Celsius. Now, considering third rate of cooling and second rate of cooling, we can again write dt by dt3 upon dt by dt2 will be equal to T3 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. Now putting the values, we will get dt by dt3 upon 0.025, it is dt by dt2, will be equal to 40 minus 30 upon 50 minus 30, which comes out to be 10 by 20, that is equal to half, and therefore from this dt by dt3 will be equal to 0.025 into half, 0.025 into half, which comes out to be 0.0125 degrees Celsius per second. This will be the third rate of cooling. And now let us go for next numerical, that is numerical number 5, which is given as the volume of a gas varied linearly with absolute temperature if its pressure is held constant. Suppose the gas does not liquefy even at very low temperatures. At what temperature the volume of the gas will be ideally 0, and therefore for this the pressure is kept constant, that is for this fifth numerical P is kept constant. Now we know, according to ideal gas equation, PV is equal to RT for 1 mole of gas. PV is equal to RT. Now from this equation it is clear that at constant pressure, that is at constant pressure, the volume tends to 0. At constant pressure, volume tends to 0, that is V tends to 0 as temperature tends to 0. As temperature tends to 0, that is 0 Kelvin. Temperature will tend to 0 Kelvin. That means at constant pressure, this volume phi will tend to 0 if this temperature T tends to 0. And therefore, we can say that the volume of gas will be ideally 0 at 0 Kelvin. At 0 Kelvin, but we know that 0 Kelvin is nothing but minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. So for this temperature minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, the volume of the gas will be ideally 0. It will be ideally 0. Now let us see next numerical, that is numerical number 6. In olden days, while laying the rails for trains, small gaps used to be left between the rail sections to allow the thermal expansion. Suppose the rails are laid at room temperature 27 degrees Celsius. If maximum temperature in the region is 45 degrees Celsius and the length of each rail section is 10 meter, what should be the gap left given that alpha is equal to, that is coefficient of linear expansion, alpha equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin for the material of the rail section. So for this numerical number 6, the given data is temperature T1, initial temperature is 27 degrees Celsius, temperature T2, final temperature will be 45 degrees Celsius, initial length L1 will be equal to 10 meter, coefficient of linear expansion alpha will be equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin, or it is also per degree Celsius. Then we have to find out the gap, that is L2 minus L1 will be equal to how much. And therefore, for that we will use the concept of linear expansion of the solid, that is increase in length L2 minus L1 will be equal to alpha L1 into T2 minus T1, because alpha is L2 minus L1 upon L1 into T2 minus T1. Therefore, L2 minus L1 will be equal to alpha L1 into T2 minus T1. Putting the values, we will get 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 10 into 45 minus 27. 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 10 into 45 minus 27. Solving this, we will get 1.2 into 18 into 10 raised to minus 4, which is written as 21.6 into 10 raised to minus 4. 21.6 into 10 raised to minus 4, which will be converted into millimeter, because it will be in terms of meter. So it will be converted into millimeter as it will be 2.16 into 10 raised to minus 3. 2.16 into 10 raised to minus 3, which will be equal to 2.166 into 10 millimeter. 2.166 millimeter. So this will be the required increase in length L2 minus L1. Then we will go for next numerical, that is numerical number 7, which is stated as, numerical number 7 is given as a blacksmith fixes iron ring on the rim of the wooden wheel of a bullock cart. The diameter of the wooden rim and the iron ring are 1.5 meter and 1.47 meter respectively at room temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. To what temperature the iron ring should be heated so that it can fit the rim of wheel, for which alpha is given, that is alpha for iron will be equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin. And therefore, for this numerical, the given data is diameter D1 will be equal to 1.47 meter. Diameter D1, because here two diameters are given for wooden rim as well as for the iron ring. So for iron ring, it is D1 equal to 1.47 meter. For wooden rim, D2 is equal to diameter D2 equal to 1.5 meter. First temperature T1 is given 27 degrees Celsius. Then coefficient of linear expansion for iron is given 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin or per degree Celsius, and we have to find out final temperature T2. Now, as that rim as well as ring are circular, therefore length of that rim as well as ring will be nothing but circumference of the circle, which is given as 2 pi r, that is equal to pi d. Circumference will be equal to pi d, and therefore change in length we can find in terms of circumference as L2 minus L1. L2 minus L1 will be equal to pi d2. This will be L2, that is length of the wooden rim, minus pi d1, length of the iron ring, and therefore pi d2 minus pi d1, which will be equal to alpha pi d1, because L2 minus L1 will be equal to alpha L1 into T2 minus T1. Therefore it will be written as alpha pi d1 into T2 minus T1. From this change in temperature, T2 minus T1 will be equal to D2 minus D1 upon alpha D1. Pi will get cancelled on both sides, and we will get D2 minus D1 upon alpha D1. Putting the values, we will get 1.5 minus 1.47 upon 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 1.47. Solving this, we will get 3000 upon 1.2 into 1.47, which comes out to be 1701 degrees Celsius. So this is the value of T2 minus T1, and therefore T2 will be equal to T1 plus 1701. T1 plus 1701, which is equal to 27 plus 1701, which comes out to be 1728 degrees Celsius. 1728 degrees Celsius. This will be the required final temperature. And now let us see numerical number 8, which is given as: in a random temperature scale X, water boils at 200 degree X and freezes at 20 degree X. Find the boiling point of a liquid in the scale if it boils at 62 degree Celsius. And therefore, for this numerical, given data will be different temperature scales, that is degree X is given, and then boiling temperature of the liquid is given 62 degrees Celsius. Therefore directly we can solve it as rise of 100 degrees Celsius, that is boiling point of water. Rise of 100 degrees Celsius corresponds to 200 degree X minus 20 degree X, because this will be the boiling point of water, this will be the freezing point, and therefore we will get 200 degree X minus 20 degree X, that will comes out to be 180 degree X. So rise of 100 degree Celsius will correspond to 200 degree X minus 20 degree X, which is equal to 100 degree X, and therefore we can write a rise of 62 degrees Celsius. A rise of 62 degrees Celsius will correspond to the rise of, it will correspond to the rise of 180 upon 100 into 62 degree X. 180 upon 100 into 62 degree X, which comes out to be 1.8 into 62 degree X. 1.8 into 62 degree X, which will be equal to 111.6 degree X. 111.6 degree X, and therefore we can say that the boiling point of liquid is, the boiling point of that liquid is 20 degree X plus 20 degree X plus 111.6 degree X. 111.6 degree X, which comes out to be 131.6 degree X. 131.6 degree X. This will be the boiling point of that given liquid.